Hello, and welcome to the Full Send Half Mast Podcast, episode 47, NASCAR season preview edition. Tonight, this is going to be super exciting. We have a little bit of news to cover tonight, and then we're going to get right into what you guys all came here for, a bunch of NASCAR information. We'll give you predictions going into the season, talk about a little bit of the races and that are going on this year, maybe a little bit of predictions into that, as well as maybe some championship favorites, maybe a couple other topics that me and Tom would like to discuss here tonight. And we have a couple questions that we want to hint on here tonight in tonight's podcast. But before we start, we're going to get a quick word from our sponsor. The holiday season is here, and what better gift to give your friends and family than a tubby of Dubby Energy Blends? Introducing Neurofactor, an all-natural coffee cherry extract to help fuel you with energy, laser focus, and fast reflexes. Provides concentration with important aminos and vitamins without the crash that ordinary canned energy drinks just cannot provide. Try amazing flavors such as Dragonade, Dub Sludge, Galaxy Grenade, and my personal favorite, Beach and Peach. Buy the starter pack today, including 2 flavors and a shake cup for an extremely low price. Follow the link in the description below and use promo code DIGABOYS for 10% off your order. Thanks to Dubby for your continued sponsorship of Digaboys Broadcasting. Alrighty. I say let's get right into the news. We're not going to touch too much on the news because there's a lot of stuff we want to talk about here tonight in this podcast. So first bit of news here, Anthony Alfredo is returning to Our Motorsports to drive full-time in the 2024 Xfinity Series season. Good luck to him in his endeavors this season. Also, Jack Wood has announced that he'll be running full-time in the ARCA West in 2024, taking a downgrade from potentially running full-time in the Truck Series. I think that has a lot to do with Kyle Busch Motorsports no longer being a truck team in 2024. Also, IndyCar has announced that they are going to delay their new hybrid package until after the Indianapolis 500 this year. You have any thoughts on that, Tom?
Yeah, you remember the last time a series did that? Do you remember?
Yeah, I can't honestly remember. Yeah. I mean, I kind of had it with the COT car where they ran
the COT.
Half in, half out.
How terrible was that?
Yeah.
Just scrap it. Just do it for 2025.
I agree.
Stop making the pressure. You're going to make a terrible situation for the teams. They're going to have to spend tons of money to upgrade and time. It's going to cost time to switch over these engines. So, I mean, just push it. I mean, just make it a for sure 2025 deal. Stop promising empty promises, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like consistency in motorsports, and I like to run. If we're going to do one package, let's just run it the full season. So I'm with you 100% there. Just seems like a big rabbit hole we could get into there with the IndyCar series this season. And then Dawson Cram announced that he'll be running full-time for JD Motorsports in 2024. So that's a big step up for him. Good luck to him in his endeavors this season as well. Also, AJ Allmendinger. We've been wondering where he's going to go, what he's going to do. He announced he's go back to Xfinity Series, run full-time in 2024. I'm excited for this. I think that this is exactly where he needs to go. This is where he needs to be. And I'm expecting big things for him this year, and we'll talk about that more here in a bit. I don't know if you feel the same, but we will definitely be talking about that here more in a little bit. Also, a new Truck Series team. Always love growth in motorsports. Faction 46. They are going to be bringing on Thad Moffitt, grandson of Richard Petty, and he's going to be running full-time in the Truck Series. So, I don't have any expectations. Rookie season, so it's good to see new people in the sport. That's all I'm really got to say about that. And then also, I just read this maybe an hour or two ago, actually, is Cody Ware got reinstated by NASCAR. Where does he go? What does he do? What does this mean?
I mean, it's like talking about Antonio Giovinazzi in F1. Cool, I guess.
I don't know. The seat's taken. I mean, what's he gonna do?
I would, if I was him, I'd just sit on the couch for the rest of my days and live off of daddy's money.
There you go.
Maybe
not?
make a YouTube channel. Play some Fortnite or
Heck yeah.
something.
Sounds like a win-win there for him. And then also, this was something I was going to talk about here in this podcast. Actually, I was going to have a whole segment dedicated to this, but I just saw this announcement, like I said, with the Cody Ware a couple hours ago, and here it is. Grant Enfinger is going to be running for CR7 in the Truck Series in 2024. What I was going to talk about in my big segment was, where's he going to go? What's he going to do? He is a huge, huge asset to any team that he would go to in the Truck Series. With all the experience and knowledge he has, the talent he has, if you would not put him in a truck next year, or even if you had to pay out of pocket to have him sit in your truck, even at a part-time basis, would be a huge win, a huge dub. So I'm thinking this is a huge dub for CR7. I don't know how much of a dub it is for Enfinger because he's not going to be in quote-unquote winning equipment next year. But the fact that he's going to bring so much knowledge and information and ability to this team, it's going to be a big dub for this team, in my opinion.
I think it's a W for NASCAR. I think that he is just a great ambassador for NASCAR. I think no matter where he goes, he'll make a team better. And I think that for the sake of the sport, it was a good thing that he's still in a seat.
Yeah, I like that you said that because the way I look at Enfinger is I kind of equate him to being like the Kurt Busch of the Truck Series. Like
Yeah.
he is a wealth of knowledge, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, doesn't really have anything bad to say ever. Even at the end of the Phoenix race, had nothing really bad to say. He just kind of accepted it and moved on. And I think he's a huge asset to the sport, and I like to see that he would stick around for a few more years, maybe at
Yeah.
the level of ability that he still has to wheel a race car. So a big dub. Also announced was Jason Burdett, former crew chief for Justin Allgaier through all those years in Xfinity with Junior Motorsports. He is moving over to Legacy Motor Club to crew chief for Jimmy Johnson for his 3 attempts in the Cup Series next year. So, I guess if you're Jason Burdett, this is a big moment to be able to work with Jimmy Johnson. I mean, I guess they could knock that off your bucket list, but expectations to win races and be competitive. I don't know how much stock I put into that, but I mean, big moment for him, I guess, in his career. You get to say that you worked with Jimmy Johnson at some point. So,
Is that something you could put like $20 on at a Vegas better's office and make like $3,000 off of if he wins a race?
I don't think I would do that. That's $20 I'll never get back. Oh man. But yeah, good luck to him and Jimmy Johnson next year. We talked about that last week's podcast, the races he's running. So good luck to them. And then also, big time news here in IndyCar. Alex Palou has gained sponsorship from DHL in 2024. They didn't re-sign with Andretti. They moved over to Chip Ganassi, and they're going to be on a championship-winning car, team, driver with Alex Palou in 2024. And Alex Palou, as awesome as he is, he goes out and says, now DHL gets an opportunity to be on a winning platform. I love it. I love it.
W.
Absolute W, dude. I love it. I'm a huge Alex Palou fan. I think he is just
Me
an
too.
absolute gem
He's
to
great.
motorsports right now. And like, I love to see the personality that he has now. Like, that's one thing like you didn't see a whole lot of last year. He kind of just put his head down, went to work, didn't show a whole lot of emotion at points during the season. And like now that he is the man. He is IndyCar's Scott Dixon at this moment. Like he is the man to beat. So for him to show some personality, it brings the sport more to light, you know. So, and I got a lot to talk about more later with this question that we got that I want to touch on. So we'll get back to that. Alrighty. I think that covers the news for today. So I think it's time to get into a little bit of NASCAR talk here. So first off, when it comes to NASCAR, the schedule this year, big notes to bring up. We got Iowa is finally getting a Cup Series race. I guess the short track package is kind of broken. We've talked about that a lot with we'll talk about that with the question we have as well. Tom will touch on that. We've talked about this a lot, right? The fact that these cars don't have a lot of horsepower, the tires are too big, too wide of tire tread, that just they don't wear. No strategies played in, and then you got to throw in the stage caution, so that removes any potential strategies. But the way I look at Iowa, I look at it a lot like I look at Richmond. It races kind of like a short track, but also kind of races like an intermediate. It's a kind of an in-betweener type track. So I'm really excited to see what these Gen 7 next gen cars can do on a track like Iowa. We saw Richmond last year, right? I think me and Tom are pretty much in agreement that last year's Richmond race, those were the best short track races all year. I don't think anybody could waver. And if you have a different opinion, I don't know what to tell you, because that's just fact. Like, you just didn't watch the race. That's the only thing I'm saying. So what are your expectations for Iowa?
Well, I'd like to preface this by saying we needed to go to Iowa 10 years ago when Xfinity started going and putting on some absolutely spectacular shows. So huge W that we finally get an Iowa place on the schedule. It's going to be a great race. I have no reservations about it being a terrible, or I have no reservations that it's going to live up to what we're expecting it's going to be, right? I think that we're going to go to Iowa, we're going to run a race there, and then everybody's going to say, why haven't we ran here the past 10 years? Why haven't we done this? I mean, it's going to be a great race. It's going to have the bumpiness that we're not going to get next year with Auto Club. It's going to have the track width, like, I'm trying to, like Chicagoland, right? It's going to be a short track like Richmond. It's almost like the ultimate package in my book, honestly. And again, I cannot believe that we didn't make a decision like this 10 years ago. You know what I mean? It is, I believe, is going to be like the ultimate race. And I think that, this is my opinion. Obviously, it's going to be a great race. We're going to question why we haven't ran there in the past 10 years. And by 2025, 2026, maybe even 2027, that might be pushing it out too far, we'll have 2 Iowa dates. And I think that it's going to be, I will be completely fine with it, because I know we don't need 2 Atlanta dates, and we could substitute one of those Atlanta dates with an Iowa date. But I think that it's going to be, top 5 race of the year.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. And the best part about it is it's in the middle of the summer break, where Formula One, IndyCar are kind of in a lull, right there in the midsummer. And you're going right into IndyCar country. What better way to get NASCAR out in front of open wheel fans and try to bring more fans from that love racing to NASCAR? And I think this is a big dub. And then when you bring up Iowa, right? Or I mean Atlanta, right? 2 Atlanta races on the schedule. I don't think they should go there at all, but we're stuck with it now, for at least the foreseeable future. That brings me to my point of 2 super speedways in the playoffs. We got one in the first round with Atlanta, and then the one in the second round with Talladega. How do you think this plays out in the playoffs? Do you think this is going to create more chaos and maybe seeing favorites get eliminated early? Do we see surprise winners, maybe non-playoff drivers win? What are your expectations with 2 playoff races that are at super speedway type races?
Yeah, it's going to be chaos. That's just all it is. I mean, every time we go to a super speedway, it's chaos. So I think you take that, you probably times it by about 3 or 4, and because it's a playoff race, and that's what we're gonna witness. Now, for fan entertainment, I think this is a W for NASCAR. But I don't know. Packages. I hope they can create a car where passing is normal on these super speedway tracks. Look, okay, we get a little bit of passing, but like, let's have like, I don't know, 90 lead changes, 100 lead changes. Let's get it to where these cars can have runs going down the straightaways and just battling three lead changes a lap. You know what I mean? Like, something just stupid. That's, I don't know. Chaos is what I'm saying. I kind of rambled there for a second.
Oh, I think the only way we're going to get that type of racing is got to go back to 2-car tandems. Or we got to get to a point where Atlanta is worn out enough where they can actually string out and turn it back into like a mile and a half style race. Because say what you will, or say what we will about this next gen car, what anybody will say about it. I mean, it's been terrible, but where does it succeed at? Mile and a half tracks, intermediates.
Yeah.
That's been the absolute calling point for this car. So if we could get Atlanta away from the super speedway style racing, I think it will eventually turn into a good track. But I think that's going to take 10, 15 years. And I don't know if I want to sit through 15 years of 2 Atlanta races, like you said. Put 2 Iowas on the schedule, take one of the Atlantas off. That'd be better. But yeah, I don't know. That's my opinion on it. And then you brought up this actually just before the podcast. I didn't even think about it. But yeah, you said there's no dirt races on the schedule in Cup Series next year. Big L. Big L.
Yeah, that ain't right.
I mean, it's not.
Look, Bristol dirt was a good concept, but doomed to fail from the beginning, right? I mean, how many laps did we run? 150, something like that.
Yeah, it was weird. With no
regardless,
stages and, yeah, it was just
weird. But regardless, I mean, at the end of a 150 lap race, after the heats and qualifications and practices and whatever, the track's not going to be great ever. So let's take the Cup Series and let's take it to a dedicated dirt track, and let's do just a normal sprint, midget sprint, wing sprint car weekend, and let's do their format. Or something, because they can make that work. You know what I mean? They've got the experience, they've got the data to make that track work with that kind of setup. Let's try it with the Cup cars. Instead of just scrapping the whole deal, let's try and make it work, because it kind of was successful. Even at Bristol, where wouldn't be my idea of a dirt race, in my opinion. I probably would have took it to a dedicated dirt track at the beginning, but I just, that's an L. We should have a dirt race for sure.
Right. And my biggest thing is, yeah, exactly. We need a dirt race, but NASCAR's biggest thing they pride themselves on, or at least they've been trying to pride themselves on, is being the most diverse series. They're trying to attract people from all different walks of racing experience. They want to bring in sports car drivers. They want to bring in open wheel drivers. They want to bring in dirt racers. They want to bring in drag racers even. They want to bring in anybody and everybody. They want to be the best drivers in the world at competing in their series. You take away a dirt race, that's going to cut off your drivers that come from a dirt background that want to even attempt. Like, we won't see the Jonathan Davenports or Bobby Pierces of the worlds come and race against the NASCAR stars, and we want to see that. We want to see the best drivers on these certain circumstances come and challenge the guys that do this on a regular basis and try to compete for wins. And that's a big L for me, not having that as an option.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I think we should predict a couple of the crown jewel races here this season. So Daytona 500, we know it's a big wild card. I guess we should probably go in. Who do you think is the favorite going into the Daytona 500 this year? We've seen different winners over the last few years. We've seen Austin Cindric, kind of a surprise winner. We've seen Michael McDowell, kind of a surprise winner. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., surprise winner. And that's all within the last 3-4 years, right? Do we see another surprise winner? Do we see a favorite? Maybe somebody like a Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch win their first Daytona 500? That's kind of where I'm leaning. I think this year we see Brad Keselowski in victory lane in the Daytona 500. I think this is the year. I think he sat behind Chris Busch the last few years, built that team, and I think this is his year to kind of stand up and take reins of being the lead of that team. And I think he starts it off strong and wins the Daytona 500. That's my prediction.
Yeah, same thing. I had Brad Keselowski to win the Daytona 500. But again, I mean, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won it last year, right? It's all about circumstances, where you put your car on the last lap and where you're at, right? I mean, Joey Logano is a great choice, right? Ryan Blaney is a fantastic choice. And not because of his whole season performance, but just because of how good he is at draft tracks. So, I mean, Penske just in general is really strong. Then you have Kyle Larson, who's just an absolute animal no matter where he goes. And then, you had William Byron, who was just on fire all last year. I mean, the list can go on and on. Michael McDowell. is a great choice as well. We're getting some new drivers, right? Zane Smith could be a potential first time start, right? 2024 will be his first time Daytona 500. I mean, could we see another Cindric? You know, I mean, Zane's got a lot more talent than Cindric. Let's just throw that out there right now. Um, but yeah, I think that it's absolutely due time that Brad Keselowski goes back in victory lane for sure.
All right. Yeah, I think we're both in agreement there. I think this is the year for Brad Keselowski for sure. I do. I really do. It's hard for me to think of anybody else going in.
Ryan Matheson in the chat. He said Ryan Blaney.
Ooh.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
That is a good choice.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a great choice in my opinion.
I like what TP Gaming said as well. I want a dirt circuit. Are you referring to like a dirt road course? Because I think that would be freaking amazing in NASCAR. That'd be the best, most entertaining race of all time.
Rallycross.
Yes.
Rallycross.
Yes.
We need to get like long travel suspension systems on the Gen 6 Cup car and just let them go ham.
Heck yeah. All right, so the World 600, I'm going to call it that because that's what it should be called anyway, and I'm going to refer to that for life as the World 600. I think this year we're going to see Chevy take this race. Last year, Ryan Blaney won it, broke that long drought, and I think that's what set him up for his championship run, in my opinion, because that's where it kind of, the whole season for Blaney turned around right there at that race. I think we're going to see a little bit of the same. I think this year we see William Byron in victory lane in the World 600 this year.
Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna kind of go off the beaten path here, and I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch. Yep. I think in a second year with RCR, I think we're gonna see some big changes, some big moves. I think that we're probably gonna. I'd like to see that 8 car in the Final Four. I actually had him in the Final Four this year, but I think that was pretty much wishful thinking. Given first year circumstances, but I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch. Yeah,
there you go. And then Chicago Street Course. I know it's our second time back around. I'm sure SVG will be there. I'm sure that we'll see a lot more guys like Brody Kostecki. I bet will be there. I think it's gonna be. I think Chicago Street Course has become a big hit, and I think we're gonna see a lot of international people try to run in this race for the near foreseeable future. As we continue to run this. But I'm going to not go with somebody like that this year. I think who wins it this year, I think it's going to play out a lot different than it did last year. I don't think if it doesn't rain and it stays dry the whole time, I think we're going to get a race that we had pre the rain, pre the carnage. And I think we see Tyler Reddick win the Chicago Street Course this year and prove that he is the best road course, street course driver we have in full-time Cup Series driving.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tyler Reddick as well, but I'm gonna spread the love here a little bit, and you know, I'm gonna go with Chris Bell.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. I was there with you.
Yeah, I think that. Well, you know, another great choice, if he can keep his head on straight during the freaking race, would be Denny Hamlin.
Yeah,
I think because he was super fast there, but again, you know, what was it, lap 2 or lap 3? He slammed the tire barrier.
Wall, yeah, just bad.
So you know, if he could keep his head on straight, he could get something done. But I'm not gonna bank on that because it is a street course, and street courses are brutal. But I'm gonna go with Chris Bell. Spread the love here a little bit.
There you have it. We got 2 more I want to cover real quick. The Brickyard 400. This year, I believe Kyle Busch wins the Brickyard 400. I think that he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder this year. I think I might have jumped the gun a little bit on the 10-win prediction 1 year too early. I think this year might be his breakout win. Not going to be 10 wins. I'm not going to shoot that number out there. I don't think that's possible right now. But I think he gets 5-6 wins, and I think the one crown jewel race he wins this coming year is going to be the Brickyard 400. Have a really strong feeling about it.
Yeah, that's a great choice. But I'm gonna go with Kyle Larson. Just overall great driver. Keeps his head on straight. He is unbeatable, generational talent, and I think the Brickyard really suits him as a driver in the Cup Series. So, I think all Hendrick drivers are going to be really strong at Indy. William Byron's going to be strong. Alex Bowman's going to be strong. Uh, I don't think they're going to be ringing that bell at the Dawsonville pool room, but
I've been surprised before.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe he'll probably wreck his competition out of the way, like what we saw in Charlotte, but I don't think he's going to win the race. But I'm going with Kyle Larson.
Alrighty. And then the last race of the regular season is the Southern 500 this year, not the first race of the playoffs. I'm going to go off of your sentiment with Kyle Larson with the Brickyard 400. I think he goes back to back in the Southern 500. I think he is the best driver at Darlington right now. A lot of people could say, oh, maybe Denny Hamlin, maybe Eric Jones, maybe Tyler Reddick, and those are good choices. I would not disagree with any of those, but I think that the man to beat at Southern 500 and the guy to beat Darlington for years, he just couldn't figure out a way to get that victory. I think he's going to go back to back. Kyle Larson, Southern 500 winner.
I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick because I think, honestly, I think Kyle Larson and Tyler Reddick have very similar driving styles. And I think it just goes to it proves that with Darlington, right? I mean, they're the two drivers that can literally run, 100,000ths of an inch off the wall for hundreds of laps, maybe tap the wall once. You know what I mean? If luck goes their way, I think we'll witness a beautiful, timeless battle between Reddick and Larson at Darlington.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think that Southern 500 is always one of the best races of the year. I'm super excited to see what that has to provide this year, especially not being the first race of the playoffs. It's going to change the dynamic, I think, of this race in a way that a lot of people aren't expecting. So I think it's going to be a very good race. Alrighty. Now that we've done our predictions on basically the crown jewels, the most important races of the year, in our opinion, I think we should kind of do a little bit of Xfinity truck, maybe championship prospects, people we expect to be maybe front runners for the championship going into the season, and maybe people to expect for the championship run down the stretch. When it comes to truck series, a little bit of shakeups, right? Carson Hocefar's gone. We got Corey Haim actually coming back, so that's a good surprise. We know how good Tricon is. A little bit of shakeups like with GMS being gone. So what is that going to lead to? I think going into the season, I think my three guys I'm kind of looking at as my championship guys in the truck series. I'm looking at Corey Haim. I think he has got to be hands down the championship favorite. I lost a little bit of respect for him at Phoenix, but how do you earn my respect back? Put your head down, go to work, and win races, and not be the center of the attention and the drama, per se, in a bad way, right? We love drama, we love the craziness, but don't do it in a bad way, right? So I think that if maybe he has a little bit of maturity this season, off season, turns it around a little bit, and I think he is going to be a championship favorite. I think you got to look at Christian Eckes. Just re-signed with McAnally. I think that is a big dub. They were really rolling there throughout the mid parts of the season, looked like a championship favorite. They kind of fell apart right at the end. I think that they hit the ground running this year. They're going to win a bunch of these races early on, and they're going to be a championship threat. And then the one guy that I'm really, really excited for, because I think that he could have won 4 or 5 races last year, showed a lot of speed, and I think it was just the lack of experience that really caught up to him. Nick Sanchez. I think Nick Sanchez is also another championship favorite going into the season. And actually, I would say he is the championship favorite. I really do. I think that what he did as a rookie in the truck series just blew my mind. Like, you don't see guys come in the truck series and really hit the ground running and have that much success. Even when you look back at like William Byron would be the next best example I could put to him. William Byron won all those races, but William Byron's the next Jeff Gordon, in my opinion. So that's hard to compare him to that. But
and Rudy Fugle.
Yeah, and Rudy Fugle, exactly. That was a lethal combination.
Yeah, it was.
But Nick Sanchez, I kind of compare him to a Christopher Bell. He's got a ton of talent, got a ton of speed. Christopher Bell, his first year in truck series, if you remember, was not very successful. It looked like his NASCAR career was coming to an end at the end of his first season. There was talks of him leaving NASCAR completely and going back to racing midgets and stuff and going back to the dirt side. Then the second year came around and he just turned it up, won the truck championship, went to Xfinity, and now his story is put to rest. I think we see a lot of that in Nick Sanchez this year.
So we've got a lot of the same here. Heim, obviously, for the same reasons you said. I also lost a lot of respect for him at Phoenix. Regardless of what Carson Hocevar did, he really changed the outcome of the race, the season, with that move. Although I am all for chaos, I am a huge Ross Chastain fan. Um, but darn it, I was trying to have Enfinger win the championship, man. um, but yeah, I absolutely Heim is a favorite. Instead of Eckes, I'm gonna go with Majeski though, and I think that Majeski really turned it up at the latter part of the season. Kind of choked it at the end though. Not really what they needed there. He's just so strong at the short tracks, and I just don't think the schedule really fit his skills at the end there. I think though that coming back next year for 2024, I think he learned a lot this year, and I think that we're going to be seeing a lot more of Majeski coming through the season. And I think Majeski will absolutely be one to watch throughout the year. And then everything you said about Nick Sanchez, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolute rising star of the series, of NASCAR as a series, a whole. I think we see lots of Nick Sanchez in the future. And I think that he's going to have a lot of backing behind him. We will see him in the Xfinity series, and he'll be able to showcase some more talents there. But what I really want to do is get an honorable mention in here for Jake Garcia. He is a absolute rising talent. There's another driver I just want to touch on real quick, but with Jake Garcia, he's moving to the 13 truck, right? We're going to a great team where other trucks battled for the championship this year. He's going to have that championship mentality surrounding him. He is absolutely the driver to do that, I believe. And I think we'll be seeing a lot of Jake Garcia this year as well. Last honorable mention, Rajah Caruth. I'm really excited for him.
Yes, I agree. Rajah Caruth's the man. The reason I didn't mention Ben Rhodes, our defending champion, and Jake Garcia, and I love that you mentioned him because I do believe everything you just said. I think we're going to see a step back in performance with ThorSport losing their major Ford backing. Yes, they've still got it, but I feel like they're just not going to get the same support they got last year with Ford. So I think that's going to be not like a major drop off a cliff, but it's going to be a little bit of a step back in performance, in my opinion. But I do agree with everything you said about Jake Garcia.
Yeah, but how do you... So, like, when you have... So, you had 4 teams, right? But you had 2 dead cylinders in a V8, right? How much does the backing of a company like Ford affect a V6 when you don't have that backing of Ford, but you're running on all 8 cylinders?
The reason
like you see the trade-off there?
I'm not saying I'm saying it based upon financial support. Like these teams
it was
at the
a
end
question.
of the day are all about money, right? How can we cut corners to save money here, save money there? Are they going to want to pour the same amount of money they were pouring in last year in resources to run up front that they with a little bit less money that they're getting in from support through Ford?
I guess it was more of a question. Like, would you rather have all cylinders firing and chasing that backing, or would you rather have 6 out of 8 cylinders firing and having that backing?
Yeah, I got what you're saying. I got what you're saying.
See what I mean?
Yeah, that is a good point to bring up for sure. I don't know. I just have
because I really do feel like ThorSport was running on 6 cylinders last year or this year, and I think that if Jake Garcia could have been in that 13 truck
Oh,
for 2023.
They'd have won.
ThorSport would have been 3 trucks in the final 4.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know how that looks like. We're gonna find out, right?
Yeah,
We're gonna find out in 2024, but it would have been really interesting to see in 2023.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I get what your point is. That makes a lot of sense. That's something we're gonna have to see as the season progresses. I mean, to see how they can go from the beginning to the end of the season. Alrighty, I think that kind of covers the truck series. Let's do the Xfinity real quick, and then we'll jump into some more Cup stuff. So, Xfinity series this season, a lot of different shakeups. Like Josh Berry is not going to be there. John Hunter Nemechek's gone. It's going to kind of change the complexion. I think that this is the year for a breakout with Colleague. I think Colleague, specifically with Chandler Smith, now that he has a teammate that's not, how do I say this without being a complete terrible person towards the drivers they had last year? I'm not even going to
It's just opinions.
I'm not going to beat around the bush with this. Last year, Colleague's Xfinity lineup was absolute garbage. They had just, I think having Chandler Smith with someone like AJ Allmendinger to bounce opinions off of and be able to work with him solely as a teammate is going to be the biggest dub in Chandler Smith's progression as a race car driver.
Isn't Chandler Smith going to JGR?
Is he really?
I'm pretty sure.
Wrong?
Because it's Allmendinger and Josh Williams for Colleague.
Oh, you're right.
I'm pretty sure.
Goodness gracious, I'm
Chandler
over here messed
Smith
up.
is going. I'm pretty sure he's going to JGR.
Let me look this up real quick, because now I feel like I'm unversed in this situation here.
Will reportedly sign with JGR. My bad. That was October 21.
Okay. Well, Lynn, we'll just scratch that. But I still think it's going to be a good year for Colleague, because AJ Allmendinger is an absolute amazing race car driver. I believe that one thing I think he would like to do before he retires is claim a championship for Matt Colleague. And I think this is the year that he puts all of his... This is kind of his last hurrah, in my opinion. He tried the Cup Series stuff out last year. It wasn't successful. I think this year is the year he's going to give every bit of effort. He had a kid now, and you know when these race car drivers have a kid, it kind of changes their perspective on racing. I think it's going to open his eyes to be a more mature race car driver in the sense of understanding what's in front of him, taking a third place, not getting angry at himself because he couldn't finish first when he finished second at a road course. You know, I think that that's going to take a big step in his maturation as a veteran race car driver, and I think he's going to have a very successful season. Another one I look at is Justin Allgaier. Can he finally get over the hill and win an Xfinity Series championship? He's found so many ways to lose these championships. Do they get everything worked out over there? And now that he's got another crop of young drivers jumping in there. Now, Sam Mayer, teammate of Justin Allgaier, I think he is an early championship favorite. I think the one thing that's going to affect him is going to see how his maturation process has progressed this offseason. Did somebody sit down with him and say, hey, we're not going to win a championship by racing the way you did at the end of these races. Like you got to relax a little bit. You can't just completely dump your championship rival. I think that ultimately affected him down the stretch of the season. I think that he had too much stuff going on in his head, wasn't mature enough for the situation that arose there in the Final Four. Does he take a step forward this year? I believe he does. I don't think there's any reason to think that he won't. And then also Sammy Smith moving over to JRM. I think that he is going to be a championship favorite going into the season. I think that he's going to win a lot of races this year, and maybe, I don't know, one up Josh Berry, because Josh Berry didn't win it all last year. So maybe that 8 car getting back to victory lane will be a big improvement there. And I think he's a guy to look at for the championship. Is there anybody else I might be missing that you think that is a potential championship favorite? Honorable mention going into 2024.
D-Gang.
That's the funniest thing I heard all day.
Yeah. Well, well, let's just move on. How about that? So my first driver I'm really looking forward to coming back to Xfinity Series. Everybody should be excited about this. AJ Allmendinger back with Colleague in the Xfinity Series. And I'll tell you what, I am so ready to see AJ Allmendinger in the 16 light the world on fire for the 2024 season. I wholeheartedly believe he's going to do it. I don't believe that there is anybody who's going to stop him. I think Colleague's going to give him everything he needs to be in that Final Four for the championship race in 2024. Absolutely see that 16 in the Final Four, I believe. And I'm going to kind of go with a long shot here. I know it's first year, new team, or not first year, but first year with new team. But I'm going with Josh Williams. He's got the equipment now, right? No excuses. Colleague is cutthroat. If you don't perform, except for 2023 is an outlier, with the whole performance deal, and cutting people, but, you know, it's time to nut up, shut up, and win some races. Park it. Get some good sponsors out of it. All right. But I'm all for Josh Williams. I'm gonna be a huge Josh Williams supporter in 2024. My final driver, you know, I was with Justin Allgaier pretty much all year long in 2023. Thought he was gonna win the championship again. Comes up short. But I'm gonna go with him again. I think that Justin Allgaier is the veteran of the field. I think that whenever you think of, you know, somebody to lead the drivers in the Xfinity series, it is Justin Allgaier. He's got all the patience in the world. He knows how to win races. He doesn't know how to win a championship, but 2024 might turn that around for him. But I absolutely expect the 16 car and Justin Allgaier to be in the Final Four in 2024.
Yeah, I think I agree. And the people we didn't mention, I didn't mention Sheldon Creed, and the reason I didn't is because I don't know what to expect this season with Sheldon Creed. I want him to succeed. I think he's got a ton of talent. Can it be the year?
Gonna be,
I don't know.
It's gonna be either 5 wins or nothing.
Yep, agreed.
You know what I mean?
There's no in between. Yeah.
No.
There's no in between. And then another one that we could have mentioned was Austin Hill, but I don't know. I just have a feeling that, like I said with Thorsport, I feel like there's just going to be a little bit of a digression there in RCR. I think they're going to realize that how much of an asset Sheldon Creed was to that team, and I think that that's going to be a bit of a hampering because they got Corey Heim in the car. Or I mean, not Corey Heim, Jesse Love. Does Jesse Love?
That's the next one.
Does Jesse Love outperform Austin Hill on a regular basis? Does he do what equivalent to what Creed was doing? That's going to be the big question mark for me for RCR this year, is to see how that relationship unfolds.
And you know, a really interesting thing to watch, if you're going to watch the Xfinity series this year, is how much does the ARCA car turn over to the Xfinity car?
Yes.
Because Jesse Love's completely skipping the truck series, going straight to the Xfinity series, and with a moderately competitive team in 2023. So, you know, we're going to learn a lot there. Actually, we're going to learn a lot, and we're going to be able to see the differences between the ARCA and Xfinity car, if Truck Series actually helps with the progression of the NASCAR series, you know, and we're going to really truly see the talent of Jesse Love.
I agree. I'm excited to see that as well. All right, I think that pretty much summarizes our Xfinity series coverage here. So I want to get into some questions that were left on the post, and then we'll get back into some Cup stuff. So the first question I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to hand it off to Tom to do this second question, because I feel like I've got a pretty good point to make here on this first one. This was asked by Matt Yost on the poll. It said, will the addition of broadcasts across the streaming services be better or worse than what's on the networks currently? More driver interviews post-race, victory lane coverage, side-by-side with commercial ads so cautions incidents aren't missed, more transparent personalities, not the corporate robot mentality. All right, so yes, my opinion on this is I believe it is I think it's a dub that NASCAR is expanding its broadcasting capabilities to multiple providers. There's people that probably won't even watch NASCAR, but you put something like a NASCAR race on Amazon Prime Video, right? You might catch somebody that is going to go watch one of those races, and I think that's a big dub. Where the problem lies And why people are complaining is because NASCAR has spent the last 5 to 10 years listening to the casual. What is a casual? Look it up in the dictionary. What is the definition of a casual? A casual is someone that's going to watch. They will watch, but they're not a regular. That is the problem. You've already won them over enough for them to watch 5, 10 races a year. Quit promoting to those people because they're not going to, the more you push it to them, they're not going to watch any more than they already do anyway. You don't need to promote to your diehards because we're there every week. We watch every race. What they need to promote to is the potential new fan. Because if you can capture somebody's imagination one time and then you get them invested into the sport, you could build a lifetime diehard. It's a fact. It's a truth. You see this with the playoff system. The reason we have the playoff system we have is to capture the casual. So that these people that watch 5, 10 races a year, they can tune in at any point and they can easily follow the playoff system. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. If you miss 4 or 5 races, you come back and you see the round at 8, they've laid it all out for you. They tell you you win, you're in. You can pay attention and keep up with who wins the championship throughout the season. That is a big mistake. A big mistake NASCAR's made is trying to appease to the casual because you're not going to ever retain their attention full season long. And then when it comes to media personalities, I think that where these media companies are is they like having people that are more laid back. They want to turn NASCAR more into like a pastime, more laid back. And that's what they pick. They don't want the exciting, enthusiastic people because if you get that, you're not going to be able to retain most people's attention because some people aren't going to find it interesting. But the biggest thing in broadcasting, and I listened to quite a bit of sports radio or talk shows and stuff with sports, just casually whenever I'm working. So the big thing with broadcasting is if you're not interested or the person calling the race or what they're broadcasting isn't interested in what they are broadcasting or they can't provide the sense that they are interested, who's going to be interested? Nobody's going to be interested. So that's the problem with what they're going to do with media personalities or whatever they put in the booth. So I personally, I'm more engaged in sports. If I don't really watch a whole lot of other sports outside of racing, but if I do happen to catch like a different type of sport, like a basketball game, football game, whatever, if there's a broadcaster in the booth that is absolutely just enjoying his time and out there just screaming at the TV and just making you just that much invested in it, you're like, I've got to see this because like I want to see this moment happen because it just brings this intensity to the event, the sport itself. So I believe that's what we need more of in the sport, but they're trying to appease the casuals. And if you have the same consistent monotone take to these races, that's how you're going to continually hold the casuals because they are not going to expect something different the next time they tune in 4 weeks from now. And that's my whole opinion of it. And then, yes, I would love to see more victory lane celebrations. Why do we do the damn interviews on the front stretch? I hate it. Yes, you're getting the raw emotion, and you're getting it out in front of the fans at the track. But there was just something magical about a victory lane celebration when they jump out of the car. You haven't heard from them yet. Their team's there, and they get that raw emotion of celebrating with their boys, the people that they've built their car, worked on the car all race long, and they succeeded this as a team. And I love that aspect, and I would love to see more victory lane coverage, more victory lane interviews, and I don't think there's really anything you can do to answer your final question to fix the commercial side-by-sides or ads. They've got to sell the product to everybody. I mean, that's the way they make the sport go around. I don't think there's anything they can do to fix it. And to say to be so lost in saying that's why we have stage breaks. We could get more media coverage in that. That's not the reason we have stage breaks. The reason we have stage breaks is they want a bunch to fill back up for more manufactured action. And if you think otherwise, then you don't understand. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's not for commercials. It's not for advertisements. It's to bunch to fill back up for more action. So, yeah, there's nothing you're going to do to be able to fix the ads. Is there anything that I might have missed or anything you want to add on to there?
No, I'll save my opinion after the new deal goes through and the races go through, and because I don't know if I agree or disagree with the whole deal. I don't. I'm more leaning towards I don't agree, but I'd rather see it in action first and then gain an opinion on that.
Alrighty. You wanna cover this next one? This one was
Oh
by
yeah,
Kyle Hendricks. If you
yeah.
wanna
So
go.
Kyle Hendricks commented, "I'd like to discuss why NASCAR absolutely refuses to attempt any sort of horsepower increase in testing. They tried a bunch of things in the original testing of the next gen, and what is it that actually made the difference? More horsepower. At least try running 750 in a test session. The fact that NASCAR wants to use every excuse imaginable to not test more horsepower is the most concerning issue with the sport currently, in my opinion. We need more off throttle time, a different diffuser, and a front lip isn't going to do that." I agree. Okay, so I actually pulled up a news article by Heavy Sports. They have an article here with an interview that they had with Doug Yates of Roush Yates Engines. If nobody knows that, Ford, basically. He said that it would be possible to increase the horsepower from 650 to 750 with minimal cost for the teams, but he said that going up to 900 horsepower would make the life of the engine shorter. So I think that singular paragraph right there says a lot. Why? Because I think that NASCAR views the 670 to 750 jump as a decrease in reliability, when in reality, it's more than likely just a little bit of a hotter tune to these motors, because we know they're detuned. We know that they can only run so many motors in a season, right? So I think, truthfully, I think that's what NASCAR is concerned about, because the whole purpose of this next gen car was to decrease the cost for the teams. Part of that is to decrease the cost for the engines, obviously. While I agree that more off throttle time um, and 2 black marks from turn 2 Martinsville to turn 3 Martinsville is needed, I just don't think that NASCAR wants to entertain anything. Yes, they're making all the excuses in the book. Why? Reliability? I don't know. Can anybody answer that, really? I mean, really, can anybody answer that? We don't know. I mean, we on this channel we say a lot of, goofy and silly things sometimes with Big Daddy NASCAR. But I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about. This isn't this is just something where people ask and ask and ask, and Jay brought up a great point with the casuals. I don't think the casuals even know what they want to watch, to be honest with you. I don't think they know a lot about racing. They see 2 cars go side by side for 10 laps and they're like, "Oh, that's interesting." And leave it at that. But, for the diehards and for the people who actually know anything about racing, side by side is cool, but passing. We want to see the passing. We want to see the battles for, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all the way back. There's gotta be some sort of driver input where the drivers have an increased chance of making a mistake for the terms of entertainment purposes, not wrecks. This is one way to do it. 750 horsepower is not a big leap. Doug Yates said it himself in multiple interviews. I just pulled up one. And I even pulled up one where they said it would cost about $40,000. And I don't know if that's a singular engine. I don't know if that's a month time. I don't know if that's a one-time deal. I don't know. But in the grand scheme of things, when a charter costs $15 million and an engine tune to create better racing for $40,000 is kind of a no-brainer to me, in my opinion. You know, diffusers, front lips. I don't even know why we're even messing with them. We took them off the car of tomorrow, the splitters, because they were just a hassle. The diffusers were. I don't know if the car was built around the diffuser or if the diffuser was put on the car to increase the downforce that they were hoping to get without the diffuser or whatever. To me, it just adds a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo BS to a car that doesn't need it, honestly. My opinion, low downforce, high horsepower. Let the drivers drive the car and flex. Let them flex. Let them show their driver talent. Let them, let them do what the drivers have been doing in previous generations of NASCAR. I think that now drivers have so many hoops to go through in terms of setups and diffusers and splitters thrown at them by NASCAR that it's just it's manufactured racing. I agree 100% with you, Kyle. I don't know if there is. I don't even think God can change NASCAR's mind as a sanctioning body. We all know what is needed, but there's some sort of ulterior motive going on that we just don't know, and it just won't change. Just won't change.
Yeah, I think that was well said. I mean, I don't disagree with the thing you said, honestly. I mean, I'm just so my whole thing is I'm just so over the whole thing anyway with this next gen car that I've just given up on it. So the only thing I look at the positives, right? The positives are with how terrible this car is. Richmond was a fantastic race last year. Both Richmond races were fantastic, and I feel like we could build on whatever they did there. I think we can salvage it. And then the mile and a halves have just been exceptional. I mean, last year, this year, or 2022, 2023, mile and a half races are the best races. And that was the biggest problem we had in NASCAR is it would string out real quick and there was just nothing going on. So I think that if we can take any positives, those are the positives in my opinion. So that's what kind of where I'm at. But
imagine what the racing could be, though.
I know.
Like,
it could be amazing.
It's good. Like, Richmond was great. Imagine if they took the diffusers, splitters, and added 750 to it.
Yeah.
It'd been awesome. It would be throwback of the ages.
Alrighty. Let's look at the chat real quick. I strongly dislike the interviews right out of the car. I miss Victory Lane. Alex Light said that. Yeah, I agree. I touched on that. Ryan Matheson, I want exciting commentary, not the boring laid back dudes. I agree.
Mike Joy.
100%. And do we know who's going to be in the booth for the Amazon streams?
Dega Boys.
Dega Boys. Let's get that trending. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but the actual I just found this out the other day listening to the radio, but the actual Amazon that does the Thursday Night Football broadcast, they do it from their homes. Like as if me and Tom would be doing it from our homes. So why not bring the Dega Boys in? We'll broadcast it right here from the comfort of our own homes. You don't even got to buy us hotels or food or anything. Just pay for our time, and we'll bring you
maybe
the
a
most
6-pack.
exciting. Yeah, give me a 6-pack for after the race. Celebrate a little bit. But yeah, I think that we could definitely do it remotely from right here for Amazon. I think that'd be awesome. So if you guys know Jeff Bezos' contact information, or tweet at him at Dega Boys for NASCAR broadcast, that'd be awesome. And then Ryan Matson's kind of like how the Dega Boys do. That's what I'm saying. We could definitely do pretty good. Dega Boys NASCAR broadcast 2024. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. So everybody tweet at Amazon at Jeff Bezos that Dega Boys Amazon Prime Video. Give us the 5-race deal next year, and we will see some of the best NASCAR broadcasts you've seen in a very, very long time. Alrighty, let's kind of wrap this up. I've got a couple questions I want to ask related to kind of the Cup Series real quick, and then we'll call it a night here for the NASCAR preview. My first question for you, Tom, is rookie expectations, or I guess not just necessarily rookies, but I want to lump Justin Haley moving over to Rick Ware, and then Daniel Hemrick moving over to the Cups or to Cup Series with Colleague, and then also Ty Dillon moving over to Colleague, as well as Zane Smith, Carson Hocevar, John Hunter Nemechek. Expectations for any of those, or who do you think is going to be the one to outshine the rest?
Oh, that's a good one. I think I'm gonna go with Zane Smith for Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
I think that Zane has absolute incredible talent with the backing that they're gonna have from Trackhouse, with the Spire built cars. I think it's just gonna be it's a great combination. Honestly, you've got Ross Chastain, leading that Trackhouse team, with Spire and their aspiring, ambitious ways to grow inside of the sport. I think Zane has a lot of potential. John Hunter Nemechek, you gotta watch him. LMC absolutely turned up at the end of this year, and it was very exciting to see with Hocevar behind the wheel. Hocevar, I think, is going to have bits and pieces of spotlight. I don't think that he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be on the same level as Nemechek and Zane Smith at the beginning. I think maybe next year we might see more Hocevar, but who knows? But I'm pulling for Zane Smith. Colleague took a huge L this year. I'm not even regarding them for top 25 in points, top 30 in points. I think Stuart Haas is going to do better than them. That's saying something. I think that who was the other one you said?
Colleague Ty Dillon.
Oh, Rick Ware.
Rick Ware,
Who
Justin
cares?
Haley over to Rick Ware. Yeah.
I think that I just think that Nemechek and Zane Smith, they're going to be really exciting to watch for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Nemechek is not eligible for Rookie of the Year, so I couldn't pick him.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
But I kind of phrased the question in a weird way there, so I kind of understand where you're messed up there. So, I think that out of the guys that made these new moves or these new places, I think Nemechek's going to perform the best. He's already got a year in the Cup Series under his belt. He's with Toyota now. I don't know how much backing they're going to get or where their pecking order is in the Toyota lines there with Legacy Motor Club, but I think that he is going to perform the best out of these drivers. Like you said, Colleague, dumpster. Don't even think about Colleague. Maybe one race this year, they might have one moment with one of those two drivers that you'll look back and be like, wow, that was actually a good performance. But I would only put that down to maybe one race. I think they're going to be terrible this year. And then I think Hocevar and Zane Smith are going to have a lot of growing pains this year, especially with Spire being ambitious, like you said, with 3 cars this year. I know it's basically a track house car for both of them, but I think that there's just going to be growing pains. It takes a while to adjust to racing these full longer races on a full 36-week basis. When you do it like Hocevar did, where he ran, 10 of them at the end of the year, that's different than coming in and running 36 in a row. So I think there's going to be growing pains there for him and Zane. And then I think we're going to see a step up in performance by Rick Ware. I think Justin Haley is going to run better in that car than they've had the last few years, but it's not going to be like a huge jump. It's not going to be something you look at where you're like, whoa, they exploded in performance. I think it's going to be so minor, but it will be an improvement.
Like 32nd?
Well, they weren't that bad, were they? They weren't that bad.
I mean, well, Cody Ware,
Well, yeah, I guess you are right. We saw some flashes with JJ Yaley a couple times last year, so we'll see. And then my other questions were championship favorites in the Cup Series. We kind of talked about Xfinity and Truck, so championship 4, championship favorites, what you're kind of expecting down the line.
Man, just right off the top of my head, Larson, Byron. I'm gonna go with the long shot of Hamlin and Chastain.
Okay. Yeah, my championship favorites, kind of there with you. I'm taking Byron. I think that's an obvious one. I think that he's going to be the championship favorite for sure. I think over everybody else. And then I'm going to take Christopher Bell, because he's just shown that he finds ways to succeed in the playoffs, and I think that's what it takes. If you can win in clutch situations, that's all it takes in NASCAR anymore. And Christopher Bell has that it factor. He does. He is the Game 7 guy. So I would take him. I think Danny Hamlin makes championship 4 this year. I really do. I know that like I was bagging on him all year last year, and I knew he wasn't gonna make it last year. I think this year, I think we see a little bit of a different story there, and I think he's gonna take the reins there at JGR and kind of lead him to the championship 4 this year. And then I'm taking Joey Logano. And that's what my next question was going to be, your expectation for Joey Logano in 2024.
Man.
But if you look back at Joey Logano, every year we've had a 4-round or championship 4 playoff system. Joey Logano in every even year has made the championship 4. That streak does not end in 2024. Joey Logano will make the championship 4.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's a crazy statistic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. I don't know. 2023 was so abysmal for him. You know what I mean? Like,
It was
what a horrible year. I mean, I don't know, man.
His teammate just won the championship, and Blaney 2022 was absolutely garbage as well. So I mean, I feel like it's just gonna rotate back around like it did in 2022. It's gonna be like a mirror image.
You know what? I'm just gonna go out and say, yeah, we do see him in the playoffs. Because I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if that streak continues or not. And then my other questions here: Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman expectations for 2024. Do we see both of them win a race? Do we see them not win a race? What are your expectations for them going into 2024?
I have higher hopes for Bowman than I do for Elliott.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm actually gonna say the opposite. I think the relationship between Bowman and Blake Harris, I think that's still just kind of up in the air. I think him breaking his back and then having that concussion, I think it changed him as a driver, and he just hasn't been the same since. So I think that he'll make the playoffs this year. I'm not going to doubt that. And usually when he makes the playoffs, he can make it to the round 12, round 8. I think he makes the playoffs. I think he's a first-round elimination. Doesn't show the pace on the road courses as he should, especially the ones that are in the playoffs. And then on super speedways, not really his cup of tea there either. He'll lead them and then wreck himself in the front of the field multiple times. Chase Elliott, I just think that this is kind of a redemption tour for him. I think he's going to do a lot better. I think he makes it to probably the round of 8 this year. I think we'll see him in victory lane under/over. I think you put 2.5 on an under/over, and I think you would probably want to take the over on that. So I think it's going to be a big turnaround year for Chase Elliott this year. Any surprise winners or surprise playoff drivers? This kind of goes in the same category because you win and you're in. So out of all of the drivers in the lineup next year, someone that could surprise us with a win.
Chase Briscoe.
Wow.
That's just right off the top of my head. Right there. Chase Briscoe.
Dang. I'd put more odds in Corey LaJoie winning over Chase Briscoe. I'm not going to lie. And you know how I feel about Corey
brother,
LaJoie.
Man. Yikes. I don't know about that. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how Spire does this year, right? But I still think that we see Michael McDowell win next year.
I agree. And that's where my thought process was going, was actually Todd Gilliland. I think we see Todd Gilliland win a race next year.
Absolutely,
I believe
choice.
100%.
Absolutely.
We're going to see Todd Gilliland do what his dad never did and win in the Xfinity Series. Or in the Cup Series, excuse me. And then I don't think it's going to be Josh Berry. I probably should have put him in the rookie expectations as well, but I don't see anything happening with Stuart Haas. That's why I don't think Chase Briscoe's going to do good. Ryan Preece hasn't shown anything. We still don't know who's in the 10 car. We don't. I mean, really? I mean, what are they going to do with the 10 car next year? Nobody knows. And they just lost more sponsorship. Like, SHR is just a falling down corpse of what it once was. It's sad. It's really sad. They are literally the Williams of NASCAR. They're just a shell of what they used to be. So I don't have any expectations there. And then I guess, could we see Hocevar or Zane Smith win a race next year? Yes. I think we could definitely see them both win a race next year, but I just don't see it because of the growing pains of. We've seen when teams expand, like especially with Petty back in the years, like every time they finally figure it out and start getting to a point where like maybe they could win a race, What do? They expand. And then what do? Their performance drops to the ground. Then they despan and go back to a single car team. And then they start running good again. And then boom, it's just the same repetitive cycle. And I think we're going to see a lot of growing pains through Spire this year. So you say Briscoe, and I say Todd Gilliland as surprise winners this year. And then we already talked about our Final Four predictions. I guess the only thing we could do is, since we both gave our Final Four predictions, out of your Final Four, who takes the 2024 Cup Series championship? Early season. This is only the people watching are going to hold us accountable.
The safe bet is Byron.
That was what I was going to say.
The safe bet. The safe bet. I'm going with Byron.
Yeah, me too. Byron is your 2024 NASCAR champion. We saw 22 and 22. We're going to see 24 and 24. That's where I'm going with that. So, alrighty. The last few things here I want to talk about before we end this podcast is, one thing that's bugging me. I put that little video out about Max, or the little short about Max Verstappen. Why does nobody know who Max Verstappen is or care about Max Verstappen? I listen to these sports radio shows and they're talking about people I've never even heard of, and they're like supposed to be the best in these certain sports, and I'm like, I've never heard of them before. And I guess maybe that has a lot to do with why Max Verstappen isn't getting talked about, because a lot of people that don't really pay attention to racing don't talk about Max Verstappen. But what Max Verstappen did this year is something we're never going to see again. We'll talk about this more in a couple podcasts from now. We'll do a Formula One style of this podcast. But what we saw this year from Max Verstappen, he doesn't only just deserve an ESPY, he deserves Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. He deserves some type of motorsports person of the year. Put him on the front of Times or the Rolling Stones or whatever. But I think everybody needs to know about Max Verstappen and what he did in 2023. And it's a damn crime and a damn shame that more people in the world don't understand what he did this year. It's something we will never see again. And I'm very confident in saying that. Very confident. Yeah. And then also, we are going to do the motorsports 12 days of motorsports. Over the next 12 days, we are going to be doing a little bit of skits on our channel. So stay tuned to that. 12 days of motorsports. It's going to be very entertaining. You guys are going to want to stick around for it. Me and Tom are working out the details on how exactly we want to do this and how we want to present it. But we are going to basically do 12 days of motorsports on this channel, and you guys are going to love it. It's going to be an entertaining segment, and it's going to lead you guys into the holiday season in a perfect way. Is there anything else that I missed that you want to talk about, or are we pretty much covered everything here tonight?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Alrighty. And I believe we do have a broadcast tomorrow night, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, so yeah, we are broadcasting again with Nexus, so make sure you guys tune in for that. We'll be Gen 6 at Atlanta 08. It's not the new Atlanta.
The only
it's
good
the
Atlanta.
old, the only good Atlanta. So
Alright.
it's going to be awesome. Make sure you guys tune in for that race. It's going to be great.
For sure. Alrighty. I think that'll pretty much summarize this podcast. Thanks to everyone that has liked, commented, and subscribed to our channel, our videos, our content. We much appreciate it. We are growing at such a fast rate. We're closing in on just about 200 subscribers away from hitting that 1,000 sub mark that we've set our goal on. We're trying to hit it within 1 year anniversary, which is March 3rd of 2024. And we are getting so close. And the rate we're going at right now, we should be there awfully quick. So I'm really appreciative of everybody that has brought something to this channel in any other way or other. It means the world to us. Make sure to go check out our merch store. Go buy you some holiday merch to throw under the tree for all your friends and family. You've got some Big Daddy NASCAR hats. Only great men. Watch Dega Boys on YouTube. Just some awesome merch. Lots of cool stuff. There's our merch store. You can get lost in there. There's a lot of great stuff. There's something for everybody in there. You guys would love it. It's some awesome stuff. And all of that goes back to help our channel and allow us to make more awesome, great content for you guys here on YouTube. Also, if you guys want to support us even more, you guys can go subscribe to our Patreon, and that would help us out a lot, give you some great benefits. and show your fandom for the channel and be able to interact with us on a more awesome level behind the scenes. And as well as our membership program on our YouTube channel. I want to shout out Dallas Leeward. He is a member of our membership program on our channel. And all of those proceeds go back to help our channel and us allowing us to continue to make great content for you guys here on YouTube and continue to chase our dreams on that front. And if you guys would like to become a member, join that. The link is in the description below of this video. It'd be much appreciated. There's multiple tiers for you to choose from. Pick one that best suits your interest in our channel, and we would greatly appreciate that. Next week, we are going to be back for a episode of this style, but we're going to be covering IndyCar. So after this podcast, we're going to put another post up on the channel. If there's anything you want to know about IndyCar, any opinions, topics of discussion, shoot, your championship favorite, who's going to win the Indy 500, whatever it may be, we're going to discuss everything, anything IndyCar here next Tuesday on this podcast. So make sure if you guys have anything you would like to be brought up, put those questions, comments, and opinions in the post afterward. Also, follow all of our social medias. All the links are in the description below, as well as on the screen in front of you at the bottom. Go give us a follow there. Great content there. Tom does a lot of work on a lot of those social media platforms and tries to promote our channel there, and everything that you guys do to support us there would be awesome. And then also, Tom, you want to talk about our good buddies there with the King of Camo, Ryan? We see you in the chat.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Hey, guys, if you guys like anything in the firearms world, customization, paint jobs, whatever it may be, go check out the King of Camo on YouTube. They got lots of cool stuff going on there. Go like and subscribe to their channel. Go comment there. Tell them the Dega Boys sent you. It means a lot to them. It means a lot to us as well. And look, they got a really cool series going on right now. It's called Don't Be That Douchebag Customer. I highly suggest you guys go watch that. Go give it a like. Tell them the Dega Boys sent you. I mean, I can sit here for about 15 minutes and scroll through all their shorts there and just laugh so hard my lungs hurt. So make sure you guys go check them out. They got lots of cool content. They got lots of cool stuff through the pipeline too. And don't forget, in April, we're having our games with those guys.
Heck yeah. I can't wait for that. We talked about that. There's actually a video on our channel kind of precursing that. We're going to have some more content with those guys here in the near future. So make sure to stay tuned to our channel, their channel, for all updates regarding that. And we cannot wait to bring you the Dega Games 2024 edition. It's going to be some great action, great content. And those are some awesome dudes, man. Go give them a like, a subscribe, a comment. Tell them that we sent you. I'm telling you. Tell them the Dega Boys sent you. Tell them you heard it here first. And show them some love. Alrighty.
Yep.
Is there anything else I missed, or is that pretty much everything here for episode 47?
Yeah. I guess I'd just like to say thank you for everybody who came out, commented on our stream, and liked it as well. It means a lot to us. Subscribing means a lot to us as well. We're really close to that 1,000 sub mark. We are dedicated to hit it. Jay puts a lot of work in this channel, and we have a lot of fun doing it as well with our broadcasts and our podcasts as well. This is what I look forward to pretty much every week. I mean, it's the podcast and the broadcast, and it's just so much fun. And to be able to share it with you guys, it means a lot to me to know that you guys are enjoying it as well. So thank you guys as well for everybody who came out, who continues to support our channel. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. Everybody here at the Dega Boys team really appreciates it. And make sure you guys stay tuned, because we might be doing a little bit of a giveaway as well. So stay tuned for that.
For sure. And thanks to everyone in the chat. Alex, Ryan, thanks for coming out tonight. TP Tim Henderson says hashtag Big Daddy Dega Boys. And with that, that is going to end the podcast. Big Daddy Dega Boys signing off. We'll see you guys all tomorrow, and then again next week for our IndyCar season preview. Thanks for coming out tonight.